T minus 1 minute. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lungisile, and welcome to In Conversations with Oracle Media Season 3. Today, we're excited and honored to have with us a game changer, a great personality in business, and a person who is a leader in business in our session today. Today, we've got Sonja Tifloen, who is a director at BLC Attorneys. Sonja, good morning, and thank you for joining us today.
Good morning, Lungi, and thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. We're very much excited to have you. Just before we dive into today's session, we'd like to encourage everyone to please use the chat and comment box for any comments, questions that they may have for our guests today that they wish we engage on. We're very much excited and we look forward, to an engaging crowd and also to really hearing what you guys think of our guests today. Sonja, let's get right into it.
Let's do it, Lungi.
Awesome. For people that do not know who Sonja is, for people that have never heard about Sonja Tifloen, if you had to tell them about yourself, please do give us a short, brief introduction on who you are. Thank you.
Okay, good morning again, everyone. I'm Sonja Tifloen. I am a mom to 3 amazing boys. I am a wife. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm a friend. I'm a practicing attorney, and most recently, I'm an entrepreneur. The most important role, however, in my life is that of a mother. My son, Laik, is currently 22 years old, studying education, and my twin boys are 13. I still can't believe that they're starting high school next year. Feels like just the other day they were born. And in fact, when I gain some weight, I still tell people I've just had twins. It's only been 13 years. So apart from my role in my professional life, I feel that I have a duty and a responsibility to instill certain disciplines in my kids. I strive for them to have the spirit of Ubuntu and philanthropy because those things are very important to me. Growing up, we didn't have a lot, but my parents always shared with our neighbors. And until today, that is how I live my life. And that is what I want for my kids. It is also important for me to raise young men that will play a role in freeing our society from oppressive bonds of patriarchy. It is my responsibility, I feel, as a woman to raise strong, open-minded, independent men. In terms of my career, I'm an attorney, a director at BLC Attorneys, and I currently head up the finance department. My specialities are property law, construction law, and civil litigation. My firm currently has 2 offices. We've got one office, our main office in Cape Road, in Port Elizabeth, and we've got a satellite branch in East London. We currently have approximately between 50 and 60 staff members, which is actually quite big for a PE-based law firm. In addition to my legal career, I also started my online fashion business. I started that in 2020, and that is sort of something that I see as my creative outlet. Fashion has always been a big thing in my life. My mom loves fashion, and obviously I love fashion. So in a nutshell, Lungi, that's me.
Wow, thank you so much, Sonja, for that. That was actually a mouthful. And, listening to what you're saying, I'm realizing, I thought I knew you, but I really didn't know that you are so much of a big person, and your advocacy, in wanting to create game changers is so beautiful. And of course, the fashion sense, we can't deny that. We cannot deny that. Right. Our first question for you today is, what progress or changes have you seen relating to women in business?
Obviously, there's been some change. I think there's no doubt that we have to agree that there has been significant change. If we look, for example, in our country, if we go all the way back to when we had 20,000 women marching to the union buildings to where we are today, there's definitely been some strides in the right direction. But in terms of change in the boardroom and change in business, I think to answer that question, I'm just going to reflect on my own legal career. When I started out in very long ago, I remember walking into the boardroom for the first time. It was so intimidating. I was surrounded by men, mainly white men. The all females in that boardroom and at the office at that point was mainly all the females were either admin staff or junior attorneys. At that point, I was also the only non-white practicing attorney at the firm. So immediately I felt like the odd one out. I dreaded going to any social functions because small things like small talk was a challenge. And the reason it was a challenge is because of the difference in background, social experience, and obviously all men have a very keen interest in sport. So I had to do something to make myself part of the conversation. So I had a plan, and what I decided was I'm going to equip myself with the right knowledge. I'm going to learn about sport. I'm going to learn about politics, anything relating to global interest, anything that is going to create and drive the conversation, because, talking about the weather is only going to get you so far. And I'm proud that once I've equipped myself and you go into that boardroom and you have conversations with them, I can still remember clearly the shock on their faces when you start talking to them about last week's rugby game or the cricket match, or you say to them, my favorite Formula One driver is Michael Schumacher, because they don't expect you to have this knowledge and to be equipped with that kind of information. So for me, that was very, very important. So once you have the knowledge and you can talk along with people, it gives you confidence automatically. And I still have that rule. I do not leave my house until I have at least read the newspaper so that I know what's going on in the world. But in terms of change, I mean, 6 years later, after I left the previous firm, I started at another firm, which was, not that long ago. And I was quite shocked because on my first day there was actually on Secretary's Day. And I remember getting a gift for Secretary's Day. And not that there's anything wrong with being a secretary, but it was just the mindset was still that they celebrate all men, all male attorneys get celebrated on Boss's Day. And whether you're an attorney or whatever position, the office manager, finance manager, all of us automatically just fell into Secretary's Day. And that was one of the first things that I changed, because we need to be respected and seen as equals. Whether we're going to get there, I don't know, but that has since changed. In addition to that, we always get addressed differently. If you're a man, you Mr. So-and-so. If you're a female, you are just Sonja. But fast forward to 2022, we are currently 6 shareholders at my firm, and I'm very proud to say that of the 6, 5 of them are female. So gone are the days where we are the minority. We are taking our seat at the boardroom table. We are part of the conversation. We are the game changers, and we are forces to be reckoned with. And it makes me optimistic to see in such a small space of time how far we've come, which is sort of a view of what the future is looking like. When our kids are older, I think we're going to be at the point where we as close to we can get to equality.
Wow. Wow, that is such a beautiful statement, Sonia, that you're mentioning, and you mentioned something so important about equality when it comes to the business space. Do you think that the field will ever be equal? The playing field will ever be equal?
Well, there's a promise of equality. Whether we're going to get there is a completely different thing. However, I must say, I don't want equality with regards to absolutely everything. Lungi, I'm never going to be the one that opens the car door for you. I'm happy for you to be doing that. So I never
Selective
wanted to be.
equality. Selective equality.
We don't want that type of equality. We'll pass on that one. So we still face real problems in the workplace. Discrimination is real. Very few companies actually offer flexible working hours, access to childcare, parental leave, which is all things that we as women need to have a successful career. There wasn't a lot of positive that came out of COVID, but the one thing that I'm grateful for is it showed employers that staff are able to work remotely with flexibility and they are still be able to be productive. In fact, some of the companies did studies and they found that their staff are actually more productive working from home and being flexible, because you find yourself at home. And I mean, I'm the type of person, if I have family responsibilities, if I took 1 hour out of my day that was actually owed to my firm, I'm going to make it up at night. And with working remotely, you now have the ability to do that. You can work longer hours, you can work flexi hours, but it's not for everybody, but it's at least something that we are now, firms have seen that we are able to do it. So with regards to equality, I think we need certain things to help us get there. We are still not, I mean, the unemployment rate is still much higher for females versus our male counterparts. The earnings are not the same for doing exactly the same job, but at least the discrepancies are smaller. We're making strides, we're getting there. And I think as females, we have reason to be optimistic and excited.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sonia, for that. I think it speaks to my next question that says that what is needed to speed up the change or the process towards change? What type of elements do we need to consider, speeding up the process in this regard, heading up to equality? Are there any key elements that, businesses or other legislation at large that they have to consider in order to speed up the process?
Well, I think there's a lot that we can do and a lot that is needed. I think one of the first things is change of mindset. People need to realize that as females, we have sort of different responsibilities. Our needs are different. Our thinking is different. So what we need is an inclusive and accommodating approach. And as women, we need to drive this process. We need to be the game changers. We need to realize we're not men. We never will be. We shouldn't try to play the game that men play, because I mean, they created that game. They made the rules. We need to make our own rules. We need to do what works for us. And the only people who actually know what works for us is us. For example, I once read the book Lean In, written by Sheryl Sandberg. And in that book, she makes the example. She says, while she was pregnant, she was on her way to working at Google at this point. She was pregnant and on her way to a meeting. And on this morning, or rather just before before she had this meeting, Google had expanded, but they didn't have enough parking to accommodate for everyone to sort of be close enough to the door. So she was late for the meeting. The parking she found was far from the door. She eventually made it in time to the meeting, but when she got there, she was huffing and puffing and she was completely out of breath because there was nothing to accommodate her. She then, that night, she went home and to discuss this with her husband, and he at that point worked at Yahoo, and he said to her, do you know that at Yahoo we have designated parking bays for pregnant ladies, like we have for moms with toddlers, for people with disabilities. Now, as a man, and we can't blame men, I mean, if they've never been pregnant, God forbid, I don't think any man will survive childbirth. So we can't take And we can't blame them because they haven't been pregnant. They don't know what it's like carrying a child at 9 months and having to walk the extra mile. So it's for us to speak up and create changes like this. We need to work together as women to empower each other. We need to let go of the PhD syndrome. We need to not pull her down any longer. And we need to realize that we can be successful together. I don't need to dim someone else's light for my light to shine brighter. In fact, if you think about it, if you put two people in a dark room and both have lights, but you only have one light shining, you won't have as much light as if both people put their lights on. So let's shine our lights together. We need to abolish the queen bee approach, and that will make the hive stronger. We need to be inclusive.
Wow. Thank you so much, Sonja, for that. Listening to what you are saying, I like the element of inclusivity that you are speaking to. I like the element of saying that, you can go fast when you're walking alone. However, you can go very far when you are together and you are a unit and you are joined. So it actually it speaks to my next question that says that, we all live by some sense of inspiration. We all have those particular moments that speaks to us profoundly. What moment for you in a woman that has inspired you, has been one of those things that you look at and you're like, this contributes to my survival guide. What is that moment and how did it inspire you?
I think there's quite a few moments that stand out for me, but just thinking immediately, and if I must keep my focus to things driven by females, obviously we're going to reflect on the females marching to the Union building. We look at and we consider and give gratitude to people like Helen Joseph, Lillian Diedrichs. We look at Tuli Madonsela. She refused to turn a blind eye to corruption. Rosa Parks, ultimately one of my favorites. She refused to give up her seat in the bus. And I always say to my kids, if she didn't get up, we may also be standing in the bus. So kudos to her. In addition to that, I think we also need to acknowledge ordinary people around us. We need to acknowledge your helper who's looking after your kids while you go to work when her own kids are at home without her. I give credit to someone like my mother who was holding down a full-time job, but at the same time started her own business, running it from home. We need to give credit every time I see a young girl who, despite her own adversities, started a business and is successful. She didn't listen to all of the naysayers. We are surrounded by people and things happening around us every day, big things and small things which we can draw inspiration from. All we need to do is look out for these things, acknowledge it, live in the moment, and give gratitude to these people who are game changers.
Fantastic. That is really, really inspiring, and I think it's reflections to things that we ought, to take cognizance into. I just want to read a few comments that we received so far on our comments box. Hani Koba says that let's complement each other rather than competing with each other. So she embraces what you're saying in terms of it's important to make sure that we complement one another instead of competing where unnecessary. I once learned that at the end of the day, it's all about completing the effort. And if the effort is about finding equality, if the effort is to really broaden the horizons of people that are unaware of certain things, it's important that we understand that at the end of the day, we must complete the job. Lindy Woolmans also shared a comment saying that it's wonderful to see you again, Sonja. Lovely interview. You are a very strong woman, Sonja, right? And your personality is quite strong. I can almost call you a feminist, but you didn't say that in your introduction. So how have you built your confidence and resiliency within the time that you've been in business?
I think confidence is sort of a personal thing. For me, at least, it's a personal thing. It will be different for different people. For me, it's about what makes me feel good. If you look at the dictionary, it's defined as the belief that one can have faith and rely on something or someone or yourself. In the case of business, we need to embrace that the confidence you gain is not just from yourself, but it can also be from something or someone. For me, it's confidence comes both from inside and outside. If I look good, I feel good. I believe that if you look the part, you're halfway there. It's not always the case. It's not the only thing you can rely on. But if I think back when I just started with networking, I mean, we all know men are known for playing golf, so we sort of pushed in that direction. I still don't know anything about golf, but I went for my first golf lesson, and I didn't know how the sport works. I didn't know how to play it, but I did know what they wear. So I focused on what they were wearing, and I showed up on that day, and in my best possible golf outfit that I could put together. When I arrived, people actually thought I was the coach because I looked the part, and that made me feel good because I felt the part. Can I play golf? Absolutely not. I still can't. But for me, that gives me the confidence to show up and live in that moment, because it's not always easy to try new things. So if I have to experience new things, like playing golf, the fact that I was dressed well made me feel well. But in addition to that, you also need the knowledge to back it up. You can't just show up at a board meeting looking good but not knowing what's going on. So confidence for me sort of goes hand in hand with resilience. Resilience is the ability to sort of think on your feet. And the only way you can think on your feet is if you're prepared. If you have the knowledge, you must know what you're talking about to be able to field questions, to be able to come across as confident. I mean, it's pointless standing there and you can't open your mouth and you don't have anything intelligent to say. So be resilient, be prepared. Embrace it. As females, I mean, we are multifaceted, and resilience is part of our core, and we need to embrace that. For me, for example, when I started my online business, I had to learn to be tech savvy. That's what we had to do for COVID. I mean, once you're comfortable with this, I remember my first Zoom meeting, I didn't even know where to put on volume. I was on mute through the entire meeting, and you learn new skills. And through my fashion business, I had to learn about marketing. I had to learn about representing my brand. I had to learn about social media, running a website, sales, customer service, which I can all now use in my legal profession, because it all goes hand in hand. So having all of that knowledge and the ability, trying new things, learning every day, growing every day, I think that helps you gain confidence and resilience. And it also comes with age and experience. I mean, in my 20s, I wasn't so confident, but I don't want to go back to my 20s. So I think, and part of that, of the confidence, is we need to embrace our failures and we need to learn from it. It's about not seeing every mistake or failure as the end of the world, taking the positive out of your mistakes, learning from it and growing from it.
Thank you so much, Sonja, for that. Listening to what you're saying, the most prominent thing for me is that you are speaking to being prepared. I also believe that luck favors the prepared. You can't go out without being prepared and hoping to find, your salvation or whatever you're looking for within the business space. We are receiving very interesting comments on our Facebook page at the moment. For example, from Ntobe Gonzala, he says that he is not a woman, but he's also here to learn. Very informative session. So we will get to our comments section shortly. But I think, Sonja, because we are slightly running out of time, you said some important, in fact, everything that you said is important notes, but I want you to please share a message for upcoming women who have been in business maybe for a short while and hoping, to stick around, be future entrepreneurs, be leaders within their organizations, but they almost need, a few points to guide them into how they can successfully achieve this. What would your message be to those people who are upcoming in business, and those that who are still going to get into business as young women?
My message is sort of what I've learned from, and what my motto is: work hard, be true to yourself, focus on you, be the best version of you, be authentic, don't get sidetracked by someone else's success or their journey, focus on your own dreams. Ask yourself difficult questions, know what your strengths and weaknesses are, and learn from it. And don't get distracted by the noise of social media. Guys, social media isn't real. I always make the example of saying, everyone posts when they buy the new car, but when the bank comes to repossess the car, no one's going to post that. So everybody has failures, everybody has successes. They don't necessarily show you their failures. So when you have failures, don't think it's the end of the world. Focus on your own journey and be the best version of yourself.
That is beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, Sonia, for that. I've got a question that I've asked our previous speaker, and I thought let me just throw it in here as well. Do you think that the future is female?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There is no doubt about it. The future is female. We are amazing leaders. We are resilient. We are hardworking. We lead different to men. We lead with compassion, empathy, um, emotion. Sometimes there's tears involved, but that is our strength. That's our superpower, and that is what we need to use. We are natural nurturers, so mentoring people and helping them and guiding them comes naturally for us, which unfortunately I don't think does for all men. I mean, they have their strengths, they have what they need to make them good leaders, but we don't need to lead like men to be successful or to be good leaders. So yes, the future is female.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Sonja Tifloen, Director at BLC Attorneys, sharing key insights for us this morning on Women in Business. Sonja, it's true that when you're having fun, time does not only fly, it flies at a very high rate. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing, insightful and valuable information with us this morning. We really appreciate it. We hope and anticipate that our viewers this morning also found it valuable and insightful. And to the people that are watching today, thank you very much for joining us on season 3 in Conversations with Oracle Media. We really appreciate your presence. We will have more in conversations coming up, so please do stay be on the lookout rather on our Facebook page where we'll be publishing these. Sonja Tifloen, once again, thank you very much, and thank you to everyone who has watched this morning. Have a wonderful day further. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay on the line.